Good morning, Central Texas. Welcome to Kids Community Connections, 103.1 Kids FM. I'm Phyllis Jones, your host for this morning. And you know what? This is my weather. I love 40 degrees. I hope it just stays that way. I know it's not, but I kind of love it. The colder it is, the better I feel and I can breathe. Often when our young people are doing something great, I love to bring them on the show so we can find out what they're doing and highlight them. Because if we don't, then they won't continue doing what they're doing in a positive way because we're not highlighting them. We're not paying attention to them, and we're not bringing them up to the highest they can possibly be. So whenever there's a young person doing something great, I like them to come on the show. And just talk about what they're doing so that we can highlight them as much as we possibly can. So this morning I'm talking to a young man. His name is JC Strings. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Good morning. How you doing?
Good.
Good.
And you?
How old? I'm doing great. How old are you?
15. I'm 15 years old.
What school you go to?
I'm currently a sophomore at Harker Heights High School.
Cool.
I play with the Harker Heights Varsity Orchestra and the Varsity Guitar Ensemble and also the jazz band.
Wow. So what instrument do you play?
I play acoustic guitar, electric guitar, bass guitar, classical guitar, electric violin, and acoustic violin, and a little bit of keyboard.
So what don't you play? So what made the musical instrument something you love?
I mean, this all started back when I was about 8 years old. My dad had me listen to some Lenny Kravitz at first, and when I heard it, I asked my parents if I could learn to play the guitar, and that started. And once I saw that, and then the violin came in, so that's that.
So what's your favorite instrument of all of them?
My favorite instrument has to be maybe the electric guitar.
Why that one?
I honestly kind of like how that one sounds.
Okay, all right, okay. And what are you currently doing now? I'm currently playing for like other events. I do blues and gospel and pop music. Okay, at your age, what do you know about the blues?
Excuse me?
At your age, what did you know about the blues?
I know that lots of people did. That was like the music before like all the other stuff came in.
Right. Wow. Okay. And so you like the blues? Somewhat,
Yes.
we'll say.
Yes.
And you have an upcoming event.
It's called Blues on the Star. It's going to be at the Killeen Community Center Amphitheater. It's going to start at 7 p.m. and I will be opening for the event. And I will have my friends, the Peterson brothers. And there's a bass man, and his name is Alex, and he's 17 years old, and he plays the bass, violin, and vocals. This kid can really play bass like you've never seen him before.
Wow. Where does he live?
They both live in Austin.
Okay.
And on lead vocals, electric guitar, and a bit of percussion is Glenn. He's just amazing at guitar. They both opened for the late great B.B. King, Bobby Rush, and let me think. They just recently opened for Buddy Guy this week in Houston. And they also opened for Lisa Marie Presley.
So your event is this Saturday?
No, it's
next Saturday.
Next Saturday.
Where?
At the Killeen Community Center Amphitheater.
What time?
7:00 p.m.
And is it free and open to the public, or do we have to pay?
It is free.
Wow. So everybody heard that's free. It's that, word FREE that we don't hear very often. So what made you decide to do a free concert?
I mean, I've been mainly sharing everyone my gift of music, so I decided to give back to the community. I thought that would be nice to share, give them something back.
That's great. That's good. We need to know that. We really need to know what's going on, and like I said, once again, what our young people are doing. Do you going to tend to make this your life, or is it going to be something secondary?
I'm honestly, I might keep doing this.
Right.
I mean, if being a teacher doesn't work out so well for me, I might continue performing.
So you're going to be a teacher?
That's one of my choices.
What kind of teacher?
Like a music teacher.
Good. So, music and education, how do they go together?
You teach kids how to play instruments or like the different notes in a staff.
So do you think, like, okay, for your age, I'll say music, when you play certain kind of music, it helps you study better?
Yes.
What kind of music helps you study better?
Classic. I mainly just listen to classical whenever I study.
Good. So music does help.
Yes. Yes, it does.
And people don't realize that, though. Because myself, I clean my house through jazz. If I play some jazz music, I can clean my house all day. I can clean everything as long as there's some jazz music on.
Yeah.
So that's good. Are you able now to teach anyone how to play the arts and getting themselves out there?
Excuse me?
Right now, are you able to talk, well, let's say teach and talk to other kids about if they have musical talents, how to get them out there?
I mean, I could teach them.
And sometimes go and talk to some of the youth who want to get into music, but they don't know how.
I mean, I would have told them if they want to. I could help them out.
Good. Okay. All right. Well, that's good. That's good. So is there anything else that we need to know about you?
No, I think I'm good.
So once again,
I love music.
I hear that. That's good. And the blues part is what shocked me. I didn't think you would say blues. I don't know what I thought you would say, but I didn't think you'd say blues.
I thought you were gonna say that I like listen to stuff that most kids listen to, and yeah, sometimes I do listen to that.
Well,
too.
yeah, you would, because you're 15 years old, so you would, because I know some of the people that I like as far as music are people who were singing before I was born, and I like Billie Holiday and some of those people, and I have all the collections of people who were dead when I was born, and I like their music because I grew up listening to it. So once again, tell us where we need to be, what time, and where, and what's going to happen.
The Killeen Community Center Amphitheater, and at 7 o'clock p.m. will be the Blues Under the Stars event. And I will be opening for this event, and I will also have my friends, the Peterson Brothers.
And how much does it cost us again?
It's free.
Okay. All right. That's what we need to know. Also, is it on your Facebook page?
Yes.
So how can we find you on Facebook?
JC Strings, JC and Strings, and a Z at the end. No S.
Now, if there is a program coming up and someone wants you to play in the event, how would they contact you?
Through Facebook or my business phone.
Okay. Can you give out your business number? Or would you just rather them do Facebook?
I would probably rather them do Facebook.
Okay. All right. So give it out Facebook one more time.
JC Strings and a Z, not an S at the end.
Okay. Good. All right. Well, I want to thank you for coming on this morning and letting us know where we should be next Saturday evening from 7 to...
I'm not exactly sure how long the event is going to be, but I don't know how long it is, but if you're coming, please, if you would like to come out and see me and enjoy music, you're welcome to come.
Okay, good. And we'll be there. We'll be there, especially, like I said, to highlight young people and what they're doing. And anything that you do in the future, any concerts or anything you do, let me know. Your mother knows how to reach me, and I would like to bring you back on. And if there's other young people that are doing what you're doing in our area, they can come on and we could talk about what they're doing and what's going on. So I want to thank you this morning for coming on to talk about...
Okay, thank you for inviting me.
...about your event, and we'll be there.
Okay.
Okay, we're going to take a small break and come right back. Okay, also this month of October is Domestic Violence Month. And, often we highlight breast cancer awareness, which is good. We should highlight it. But we take domestic violence and we still lift the carpet up or sweep it up under it and close it and hope that it goes away. But, the more we don't talk about it, the worse it gets. It doesn't get better until we bring it up in a conversation, talk about it as much as possible, but as long as we, sweep it under the carpet and hope that it disappears, it grows. It grows. Much like everything else, the more you sweep it under the carpet, the taller the carpet gets till you fall over it. So we want to get rid of it. We really are rid of it. I mean, just it gone, because there's no reason for it to happen. We know it does happen. We understand that it happens, but it doesn't have to. And to women who experience domestic violence, talk about it. Yes, you're ashamed of it. I understand that. And, I've never been there, but I can understand the shame. But still, you know what? Find your friends and talk to them. Talk to somebody. Talk to as many people as you can, because, of all the people that you talk to, someone will actually understand where you've been. But, and if we know a woman that is being, abused by her spouse, significant other, whatever, tap her on the shoulder and don't, meanly tell her, hey, let her know what's going on. But, say, just something simple. Hey, if you ever need somebody to talk to, I'm here. Because you don't know what relief that is to somebody else. Just say, hey, if you need to talk, I'm here. You've opened the door for them, and you've given them something to say, okay, all right, maybe I can talk to her or somebody. Well, that's one of the things that I really take to heart, because I dislike it happening. And I want to talk about it like all the time, because that's the only way to get rid of it. So this morning, a lady that I know I've been knowing for a while, her name is Sharon Jackson Smith, and she's going to talk to us about domestic violence. Good morning. How you doing?
Good morning. Doing fine.
Okay. Where do you work at?
I work with the Army Community Services, which our branch, we work with the Family Advocacy Program, falls on the Advocacy and Prevention branch.
Okay. And domestic violence, how serious is it in our county?
Well, I don't have any statistics to share with you this morning, but we do look at ways that we can prevent it from happening, or we basically look at the definition of domestic violence, and we go out and we're trainers. We actually train our military soldiers. We actually can have their spouses attend certain classes that we provide to make them more aware. We want to look at the life skills, their home environment. We want to make sure that the relationships that they have are healthy. And when we look at domestic violence, we're saying, we look at it as part of our Army Regulation 608-18 is what we do. And it's an offense under the United States Code, the Uniform Code of Military Justice, or state law involving the use or attempted use or threatened use of force or violence against a person of the opposite sex. And we also want to look at a violation of a lawful order that's issued for the protection of that person of the opposite sex. And of course, we also will help individuals that are same-sex relationship. And that person can share a child in common with that person, your current or former partner, common domicile you share together. That's what we look at domestic violence. And we want to make sure our military soldiers and their family members are aware of that. So as a trainer at Fort Hood, with the Family Advocacy Program, we are out, we're out in the trenches, I say the ditches, and we're out there working hard. It's just part of our life, but it's work. It's work.
Exactly what is domestic violence for people who assume it's only one thing and it has many faces?
It has many faces. We look at the emotional abuse, for example. Emotional abuse for us, well, I say for me as an individual trainer myself, is something that we can't see, but it's more of how you hear it. If someone's calling you or threatening you or calling you a name that that you're not stupid, but they can constantly say that about you or say that you are, that you're no good, you're never going to amount to anything. Looking at an adult or a child, it's verbal abuse. It's giving someone the silent treatment, and it's done intentionally. It's withholding affection from that person intentionally to get back at them. That's emotional abuse. And it's very hard sometimes with some of the victims I work with to say, well, I am being emotionally abused, because you cannot see it.
Right. It's
what you feel in your heart, and it's what you think about yourself in your mind. So it's very emotional things. But then again, we have the physical abuse. The physical abuse is the actual hitting, the slapping, the pushing, the punching. We look at the bruises and the whelps, the injuries that are received. So we can see that. We can feel it as well. Then we have sexual. Sexual abuse is twofold. It's physical because of the physical assault of the sexual act, the intercourse. But then again, we have the emotional side of it, the trauma after the fact that the assault, the sexual assault has occurred, the remembering that.
Right.
And with those three types of abuse is very complicated sometimes. To also, you want to look at neglect too,
Right.
because we look at spousal neglect. So if you have a spouse and a spouse is has a disability or a handicap, it could be intellectual, psychological, it could be physical. They could have some mental health issues, not able to hold down a job, and that service member is responsible for providing what they need in life, a home, food, clothing, and shelter. And when that's not done, we can take a report of an alleged incident of abuse to a spouse. And of course, children, on the other hand, that's a totally different area.
Yes.
So we are mandatory reporters to Child Protective Services. So
Right.
whenever we get a call on our 287 CARE, we say CAR 287-2273 hotline, we are mandated reporters to contact CPS
Right.
if a child is involved in the abuse or if they are exposed to it in the home. Mom and dad having a verbal disagreement in one part of the house, children walk in, physical abuse happens, they have been exposed. So when we get that call and they have been involved, we have to contact CPS.
My thing is, I think that to me, domestic violence should be in April, because that's Child Abuse Awareness Month, and to me they go together. They're hand in hand, because as you said, if there's domestic violence in the home and there's a child there, that child might not be feeling the violence,
Right.
but emotionally they are inside. They have that in their emotion, in their whole life scene, and also they grew up to think that they should do that too, because that's the way things are done. So my thing is they should be in the same month, but that's just me thinking, because they go together. But for a woman, what would be some of the first signs to her that she's in the wrong relationship?
Wow. Okay, I have a class that I do, and it's called Relationship Warning Signs. And when a lot of times I think it happens before then, and we have to look at the phases of love that we go through.
Right.
And romantic phase of love is the first phase that we normally go through. And with romantic phase of love, what do you do? How are you feeling, and what are you doing to prepare yourself before you go out on that first date?
Right.
And you think about that good date you may be married now, and you may have had a dating experience where this was an awesome date. You'll never forget it because you felt good about it.
Right.
So you're going to be feeling positive. And that first phase, which is romantic phase, you're happy.
Right.
You're joyful. You are infatuated sometimes, and you're just so excited to go out. And before we go out on that date, in that romantic phase, we prep ourselves, or we prepare ourselves to go out on that date. And some people go out and buy a new outfit, get your hair done. Guys, young men, you get your haircuts, take a good shower, you freshen up.
Right.
You ready to go out. You've made your plans. You go pick her up, or y'all plan to meet somewhere, and you're feeling good about it. And it actually works out. It's a good date. And once it's successful, you're still in that romantic phase, but for some reason we go into the addictive phase of love. Addictive phase of love is not bad. It's the phase of love where you can't wait to see them. You want to be around them.
Right.
You want to ask them, well, what'd you do today? You resist the temptation to call them. You promise yourself, I won't text them. I won't Facebook them. I won't ask her where she's been all day.
Right.
I won't ask them who's been around all day. So that's addictive love. And what we don't want is addictive love to turn emotionally abusive or physical abuse, and the sexual abuse kick in. So we have to have some strategies to prevent that. We also look at the third phase of love, which is what I use is nurturing love. Nurturing love should be the healthiest one.
Right.
And when I say nurturing, what do you think about, Miss Phyllis, when you
the motherly.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes.
And so it's kind of like a mother raising a baby.
Mm-hmm.
And the nurturer out of the two parents, most of the time, is the mom. Now, dads, they can be nurturers as well, but mom has the ability.
Right.
We've been taught and trained
Yes.
that way. And so it's just like in a relationship. You have to nurture yourself first. You have to find out and learn yourself. Who am I as an individual? Where did I come from? Remember your background. Sometimes it's very hard to remember where we come from because we've had some psychological things that we're blocking out, or it's just some things we don't want to remember and we want to forget them.
Right.
But you have to go back, and it's painful sometimes, and you have some scars that need to be healed. And before we can nurture ourselves, we may have to go back to the dark past. But then if you haven't had that happen and you've gotten over it, you've had your healing
Right.
process, that's wonderful. That's great, but you move on. But nurturing yourself, knowing yourself before you can figure out who other people are. And once you do that, that's good.
Last year, we spoke at CTC,
Uh-huh.
and we were talking about the first date.
Okay.
And we were saying some of the warning signs of the first date is how he treats the waitress.
That's one of the examples I use.
It's how he treats that waitress.
In my
And
class.
when you talk to him about mothers and sisters and any other females, how they describe them is letting you know some of those, whoa, wait a minute signs
That's right.
of wait a minute. And others, I think, when women decide to have the Mother Teresa syndrome, such as they want to fix and repair everything without realizing there's no fix and repair.
That's right.
So, I've known some women who said they went through the Mother Teresa syndrome, and where they tried to, do the repairing thing,
Right.
found out that repairing him got you abused more
Right.
because you were in that little that little state.
And I agree with you, Ms. Phyllis. And we tell, troops when they come back from, their assignments, the only person that you can change when you go into that relationship again with your spouse or your partner or your children is yourself.
Mm-hmm.
We can raise our children to be the best they can, and we can do all we can do. But the only adult person that you can change is yourself. And you have to remember that in relationships, and remember the warning signs. That, if you're trying to fix that man, or you're trying to fix that lady, and she or he has this habit of doing things, or yelling and screaming, or just not being able to control anger, for
Right.
example,
Right.
you're there with them, but you cannot fix them. As a matter of fact, you have to they have to make a decision to want to change.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because that you hear a lot of women, I can fix him. No, you can't. He's not a car that you can just throw some parts in there and say, okay, he's good to go. No, it doesn't work that way. And I went to it's a group they meet every once a month, and I went to one, and this one lady was saying that she was in an abusive relationship, abusive marriage, and she left. And then she got into another relationship with the drug addict. So she became a drug addict. And she later realized that was still an abusive relationship. She just wasn't being beaten. She was, put into the drug world where she was on drugs with him. In order to be with him, she had to be on drugs. So she didn't realize that she went from one abusive relationship to another one.
Right.
She said until one day she woke up and realized, wait a minute, this is still abuse. Because she had to, that was his thing. You do drugs with me. And she didn't realize that was abusive until later.
And with that, you bring up relationship deal breakers. Maybe that individual that has had a past experience and it was bad with drugs or alcohol, or have that addiction, or maybe raised in a home where the parents or someone in the home was an alcoholic.
Right.
And that still makes me an alcoholic too, because I was exposed to it. I'm part of that family. And we all may have to go through that 12-step program to get some healing because we were exposed to that in our environment. And it's still part of me. And now if I get into a relationship with someone and they use drugs and alcohol, then yeah, that's a great possibility that I can start that habit, and it's more severe. Instead of not having it at all, which I didn't before I got in the relationship, but because I was exposed to it as a child, and that's what I know, I can be pulled into that. So that, to me, and I've already promised myself before I got into that relationship that I won't do that. I don't want to date anyone that has an alcoholic problem. But if I don't know that, because I'm looking at the outside appearance of that gentleman, and I get in that relationship and he pulls me into that loop, or vice versa. Sometimes it's men being pulled in by females.
Right.
They have, or he would have the responsibility to try to get me healed, or try to get me to that 12-step program, and because that's a relationship deal breaker.
Correct. Yeah. So we, women and men, need to be careful of the, as you said, the relationship deal breaker, that I do this, you need to do it too, because this is what I do, this is who I am, this is what I'm about.
Yes, ma'am. And not only that, cheating is a deal breaker for me. I don't want to be in a relationship and he's going to cheat on me.
Right.
Again. Lying, stealing.
Right.
Not supporting me or backing me up when I need his support. The same for me. Am I going to back him up and support him? Now, there are some lines and some boundaries that we cross, and we may promise ourselves, I'm not going to cross that boundary. If it's between you and your brother, no, that's not. That you got it.
Right.
You know, because I'm his sister-in-law, I'm her, you know, whatever. And so I won't cross that line. You have to battle that out between the two of you. But in the truck driving home, I might say, look, honey, I had your back, but because it was your brother and your sister, I can't, I'm here for you though. So it's one-on-one between me and him.
So in the family, let's say husband and wife, when they come for counseling because of being in abusive, either one is abusing either one. So do you also recommend that the children, if there are some, come to, or separately have their own?
It depends on the severity, but definitely the whole family should go to some counseling treatment. Sometimes that child might have a coach at school, a first grade teacher, third grade teacher that's a good mentor. It could be a volunteer coach in the community that's a mentor to that child. It's going to make a world of difference. So that's why I admire volunteers so much. And if you have the opportunity, volunteer in your community. Our young people need us so much.
Yes. Because, with I'll go to our high school teenage girls who date the superstar sports person in high school. But being a superstar, he's also abusive. But he's a superstar. He's the all-around best team, or all-around, and he's the person you should be seen with.
Yes, ma'am.
But he's abusive. And she's not able to separate that. You know what I mean? I need to be with him, and, but I can't show everybody what he does. So they in turn really need counseling. Is there a counseling for them at that age?
In high school?
Yes.
Yeah, we have several programs for our military families, including our youth. One of the programs we have that's very popular today is our Military Family Life Consultants. We call them MFLACs, Military Family Life Consultants. And they're at Fort Hood. They're also in our schools. There's Killeen High School, Shoemaker High School. Let's see, we have Ellison, and we also have Harker Heights. I'm not sure who the points of contact are at those two schools, but we do have MFLACs. And not only do we have MFLACs, we have communities and school program. They're there in the schools. And they can come in if they have some things going on, especially the military. We have Military Child Life Coalition reps in the schools, the middle schools. We have resources there, the people, the counselors. They're professionally trained, and to be counselors, they're licensed, and children can come in and speak to them if they need to. And it's confidential, but if there's some abuse, the parents will have to be notified, or that legal parent or guardian.